All right. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Wealth Building for Dummies podcast. My name is Kyle Demian. I'm joined here with Reggie Matthew as always. And then we have a special guest tonight. We have Jeff Muth on of Justified Ventures. Like we've talked about before in our podcast, we're going to start bringing in guests that are out there building wealth and investing into cash flowing assets. And we wanted to bring them on to share their experiences, their successes, their failures, what they learned, how they're building their business, and how they're planning on scaling it. So tonight, we've got our very own Jeff Muth on. And Jeff, thanks for taking some time to meet with us.
Yep, not a problem.
So kind of get us started, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get into, what you're doing in regards to Turo, commercial real estate, and vending machines. And then tell us at the end how you have time for the rest of your life.
I don't. But so a little bit about me. So I'm just a West Virginia boy, honestly. I grew up in West Virginia, southern part, like right where West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky touch. That's where I am. If anybody's ever heard of Marshall University, it's like 10 minutes that way for me. But that's kind of like my geographical location. As far as how I grew up, I'm a mechanics kid. My dad owned his own auto repair shop. So I grew up in the auto repair industry. My mom also was a small tax preparer as well. So she had her little small tax business that she was trying to run for a bit. And then as Kyle said, what got me into the different avenues, unfortunately, is my dad passed away in 2015 due to a massive heart attack. Well, we now have this great big auto repair shop building that's just sitting there. And honestly, I did try to run it and take over, but I am Jeff Muth Jr. He was senior, and he ran his business from 1979 until 2015. So any customers that would come in were like, hey, I need to talk to Jeff. It's not me that they were wanting. So I only ran the business for about 2 years now. I closed it down, and then me and my mom came to the hard decision that we were going to sell the property. Well, luckily we didn't sell it. We actually got with a good realtor, and he talked us into renting it out. So that's what we've been doing ever since. COVID hit, and luckily auto repair was a necessary business that needed to be open. So the tenant that moved in right during COVID. And that's where I've been as far as the commercial real estate goes. Since then, I do have another piece of commercial property here in Huntington that I purchased, and I call it The Lot. And Huntington's being all kinds of weird with their restrictions and whatnot, so that's an interesting battle that's going on right now. But from commercial real estate, I kind of went backwards a bit, right? What I mean by that is rather than having this great big asset and investing in bigger and bigger assets, I went smaller, right? From the big commercial real estate, I turned around and went into vending machines. And then from vending machines, I also went around and started being involved in Turo with car rentals. And the biggest reason on that with Turo is my mom, she's on Social Security. She only makes $820 a month on Social Security. And she made a great financial decision to buy a brand new car. Well, the note on it is $324 a month. And then add on insurance, it's $400. So she was trying to live from $800 dwindled down to $400 a month. And we came to the decision that it'd be best for her to rent her car out on Turo, that or give it up. She didn't want to give it up, so we went with the Turo route, and she's been doing very well. Last year, she cleared $5,000 in revenue just by having other people drive her car. And then on vending, I've made enough. A lot. All the multiple avenues I've got going on, it's kind of hard really to keep track of how much is doing what. So
awesome. And that brings us to where you're at today. And a couple of things that I learned from your story, and thank you for sharing that as well about your dad. So
Yep.
sorry to hear about that, but thank you for sharing your story. And restrictions from the lap that you had, and you ran into hurdles and obstacles. And most people, when they go to start a business, most people expect it's going to be perfect, right? And that there's not going to be any hurdles or obstacles. So, like, you share that obstacle with us. Have you had any other obstacles in your other businesses that you've had to overcome? And like, what was your, if you want to, like, what are you kind of going through now, and what are you learning that you're running into this obstacle with these restrictions that the city's given you?
Oh God. So
You just got to get through it, right?
yeah, that's really what it boils down to. So the lot, the initial plan for it was going to be that I was going to do an ice and water vending machine there, and then put a soda machine beside it as well, right? But the what I've learned with the lot is I didn't do enough due diligence. But then too, in all fairness, I didn't think that I would be blocked by the state of West Virginia from using the lot. And the reason why I say that is when I bought the lot, it has a already installed ingress and egress, installed entrance and exit. Okay, I figure, okay, sure, I can. They're already there. Just put the machine down, off we go. No, state of West Virginia said you can't use the built-in exit because it's too close to the entrance. Like, what are you talking about? Well, apparently there is a code for entrances and exits, and in the state of West Virginia, the exit has to be 100 feet away from the entrance. So the lot is 0.3 acres, right? So what they stated that I needed to do was essentially bring the exit halfway down the lot to put an exit there. I was like, no. I was like, okay, well, how about we go with a food truck park? Right? I mean, really, in that instance, all I need is gravel pads, and food trucks can go park on there, sell their stuff. They turn around and they said, first off, say West Virginia is still saying, well, this exit's too close. All right, fine, I'll block it off. What's your thing now? I haven't heard from them yet, but in two, now I'm doing different talks with the city, and the city had me going through all kinds of different not restrictions, but zoning type of stuff, is what it boils down to, because the lot is set up to where it can be it's commercial property and it can be retail space. So they've approved me for that. So no problem. You're a retail space. Cool. And fire marshal said, well, thing is all your spots that you've got, they're literally right on the edge of the property, and there's a house right next door. You need to move some of your spots closer in because it has to be 12 feet away from a combustible building. All right, fine. So on my design, it's literally just moving two gravel pads in, and I'm within code for the fire marshal. He said, we're fine there. The city, we have a zoning. No, not zoning's who's started it off wrong. But we have storm water. We pay for rain, is what it boils down to. But they turn around and, I sent them my designs and everything, what I planned on. They said, we're fine with it. There's no special permits that needed. You're good to go. All right, fine. So now it's with the health department. I spoke to a representative with the health department, and they said that you need 2 physical bathrooms, one of each sex, on the property. So I'm still there with that. And my first thing was, well, can't I have porta potties? No, it's got to be physical buildings, physical rooms with a storage room that has a sink in it as well, mop sink.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
That's a lot of restrictions.
Yeah. And what that ends up doing is that's going to take away 2 spots for food trucks to park, because my plan is I can have 5 to 6 food trucks there, right? Well, where they're wanting it at really is going to take away 2 spots. So now I could only be able to have maybe 3 food trucks on the property at the most. And they've got to be further enough away to, stay within that the fire marshal's recommendation
Code.
of 12 feet away. So, oh, good gravy.
So you're still waiting to hear back from the state then?
Well, I'm waiting to hear back from the health department at this point.
Health department.
Because they wanted a copy of my drawings and notes from the meeting, so I sent them that, and I'm just waiting to hear back from them. And then after that, then it's back to the state of, hey, they've said this, we're good here, what do you say? So, but the food trucks want it. I will say that.
Yeah. So there was a need. You're trying to create something for it, but you're just going through obstacles that you're trying to fix. Okay. Yep. So knowing what you know now, is there something you would do differently? And not just talking about this, but any business that you've gotten into. What would you say to your younger self?
Younger self, first off, don't wait 20 years before getting into something. But if I could talk to Jeff at least 2 years ago, it's, hey, you need to do more due diligence because the state of West Virginia is going to say this due to this entrance and exit is what it boiled down to. But if I turn and talk to Jeff from 20 years ago, it's not, don't sit on stuff, don't sit on money and try and figure it out later. It's very simple, because I looked at trying to get in real estate when I was younger, but I couldn't connect the dots from, I found the property, how do I get the property, right? I couldn't figure it out. And all it really is just go get a bank loan, right? If you're going to live in it, you need at least 10%, right? Or if you can get there's like all kinds of different financial system or financial assistance, you could even get in there for as little as 3%, right? Go live in a house for a year or two, then move out, go buy another one, and rent that one out, right? But I couldn't figure out from point A to point B how to do it. Now I figured it out, and unfortunately I'm too old. Plus I'm married and I have a son, so now I got to drag them with me. I don't think it'd be fair to do that. But now I got to pay 20% for waiting so long.
Oh, yeah. So it used to be less before. I've always just known it as being 20%, but I didn't know it was less before.
Yeah, if you move into it for like personal use, then that's where the 10% can be, right?
Oh,
but if you're investing in it, that's the 20% mark.
20, yep. Sorry, I misunderstood. Okay, that makes sense. Fine. Yep. But yeah, I think that's great advice, what you were saying, because I feel like that's similar with, even if you're just saving for retirement and not getting into passive income, right? It's the earlier you start, the better. Yep. And all of us, I think Kyle and I can agree, like, we've also waited for different things, and we always have that analysis paralysis, right? And we learn everything we need to do, but we never actually go do it.
Right.
And little do most people know, you'll learn as you go. You'll make mistakes, but those mistakes will get you to the next step, really. So going along with that, what would you say is one of your biggest failures that you've had in business, and what did you learn from that experience?
Oh God, biggest. That's a tough one, because now I'm looking back on like over 20 years worth of stuff of in business. What could I have done differently? I think really the biggest thing overall, now it's called solopreneur, right? I think the biggest thing is doing it all on my own by myself, right? Whereas if I would have taken the chance of at least bringing on somebody else to kind of duplicate myself, it would have been a whole lot simpler and easier. But now, being the only person, it's literally me being the janitor, the wrench turner, right? Being a mechanic, and then being human resources to myself. Sometimes I get myself in trouble and I have to have a talk to myself. But then also being the sales guy as well as being the CEO too. So all the different multiple hats.
So building a team.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. What's been your like your favorite avenue? And then let's dive into that. What's been your favorite of the multiple assets that you've been into?
The ones I like, what I like the most, really, out of everything, it really is vending when you boil down to it. Because one, I spend the least amount of time in it. I only spend, well, outside of the commercial real estate, I only spend like maybe 5 hours a month in my vending business. Real estate portion, I really only spend maybe 5 minutes a month. But vending is the better one, because of the fact that, as I look over here with all my snacks and box of honey buns kind of staring at me, it's being able to go into the different businesses and just restocking the food, right? Pulling the money out. That's always fun. And it was, for me, it was something that me and my son, we've been working on, because he got interested in it and watching. He's one of those kids that watches YouTube all the time, and so he was watching vending, and we decided to get into it. And vending is such a low barrier of entry that it's easy to get in, easy to start making money, and very, very little amount of time needs to be put in for it.
How did you get your start? Like, what was it how much did you buy your first vending machine for? Where did you put it? How did you find that location to put it there? Like, let's go through like your beginning stages of getting into it and how that worked out for you.
So my first machine I got was a bulk candy machine, right? It's one of those big metal boxes on a stand that has, some people has like M&M's, Skittles, and Mike and Ike's, right? All my bulk candy machines, I've kind of got it franchisable, right? In other words, if you, in all the different businesses that they're in, you're going to see the exact same food item. I've got peanut M&M's, I've got Skittles, and I've got Starburst jelly beans in them. And you'll find that in each one, except for one site. They requested chocolate M&Ms, not peanut. Fine, you get to be the weirdo. But but that first machine, and I found it on Facebook Marketplace. Okay, I bought it for $215, and actually it was two of them for that amount. Right, so now technically, we'll say $105 a piece. And all I did, I have a friend that he owns a cell phone repair shop. Okay, and I asked him. I said, I'm starting a vending business. I've got these little bulk candy machines. I sent him a picture of it. I still got the conversation with him too. But I sent him a picture of it and said, I'm starting a small vending business. Can I put this in your waiting area? He said, sure. I had the machine. The next day, I already had the candy. Went to his business, put it in his waiting area, emptied the candy out into the rows. Off we're running, right? And then after that, it was just expanding more and more and more. Now I have 4 bulk candy machines. So when you average it out, it ends up being like $70 a piece that I paid for, right? Minus the candy. And then the second location was a barbershop. Okay, I was getting my hair cut, and really I was scoping them out is what I was doing. I'll kind of do that, right? Because when my hair gets to a certain point, I'll go to the different barbershops around here and be like, all right, well, let's go check them out and see if there's any type of what the volume is, what their space is like. And sitting in the chair, the guy says, hey, what do you do? I said, well, I actually own a vending machine business. I mean, I'm in the chair. He's taking about 10 minutes to cut my hair, so why not, right? And I ended up putting my second vending machine in there, and it just kind of expanded from there. And I stayed with my friends that own businesses. I asked each of my friends, hey, I have a vending machine business. I have bulk candy machines. Can I put my candy machine in your waiting area? Sure, go ahead. And it's been like that month after month. My biggest account that I have is a local used car lot around here. And same thing. The barbershop kicked me out for whatever reason. And so now I had this machine sitting here in the office staring at me with candy and stuff in it. And I'm just like, I've got quarters over here, so you're very tempting, but no. So I asked my friend that runs, he was actually a district manager over the used car lot. I was like, hey, because he asked me, he's like, what are you doing now? I was like, I've been working on expanding my vending machine business. Can I place my bulk candy machine in your service side? He's like, yeah, sure. Next day, because I had it, took it, dropped it off, placed it there. First month in business, I made $20. And that's been my highest revenue generating location on bulk candy side over month over month, right? It bounces between $10 and $20. But because he was the district manager, he said, he saw how good I was servicing them, just this one little machine. He said, hey, can you go and put a machine in our Ashland location, which is like 30 minutes away, and one in our Charleston location? I had turned them down on the Charleston location because all they really wanted there was a candy machine. I couldn't be able to justify it, right? I mean,
is it too far?
Yeah, about an hour away. Just go pick up a candy machine. I scoped out the outside. It wouldn't be able to support a soda machine or even a snack machine, so it'd literally be a candy machine there. It's like, I can't do that one, too far of a distance. He's like, fair enough. But I turned around and I went over to their Ashland location, put a bulk candy machine down there. And that one generates about maybe $5 to $10 a month, right, in revenue, depending on season. But then from there, with that manager, I asked her, I was like, I'm going to expand, further in this, but I want to offer you first, do you want me to incorporate some snacks in here? And they're like, well, how can we do that? Because she didn't want a big candy machine or a big soda machine either. So what I found on Amazon is one of those little carousel things. I've actually got one sitting over here. And it's just a little carousel that spins around, and I put snacks in there, right? And I've got a little money box off to the side as well, and they can just drop dollars in there, or it's even got a QR code connected to my Square account that they can pay me with credit card as well, and even my Cash App. Apparently, though, nobody pays using that. Whatever.
Interesting.
I know. But that little carousel, when you break it down, because I got two of them and two money boxes, breaks it down to $53 for both of them. $53 a piece. Last year, just that specific one made $100 in revenue in sales.
So you doubled your investment. That's a good ROI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The downside on those carousels though, like that, is they are considered honor boxes. Okay, and with that, there is high risk of food theft. The reason why this one's sitting over here is that first location of that used car lot, I had my bulk candy machine on the service side, and then I put the carousel on the sales side, so on the other side of the wall, right? And nobody was really paying attention to it, and they would just take food out of it. And even though the money box was right there or right in front of it, they would take the food and not pay. Before I pulled it, I had like a 95% theft rate on that honor box.
Wow.
So I said, you're mine, and took it away. So, but luckily with the other one in Ashland, they actually put in like a special office that they are able to monitor and everything. And if my calculations come up as showing, different than what should actually be there, they'll even up with me. So if it's only showing $10 and it should have been 20, they'll give me another 10 and we're square. So it's been pretty good.
So what different types of vending machines do you have, Jeff?
A lot.
Okay, because you were talking about the little candy boxes or the bulk candy machines, and then the carousel. What do you have, like the regular ones for drinks and snacks too, and different types?
I've got 4 bulk candy machines. These little carousels, I call them honor boxes. So I've got 2 honor boxes. Mm-hmm. I've got a regular full-size drink machine. I've got a combo machine, which is snacks at the top, drinks at the bottom. And then I've got full-size snack machine as well. And potentially I'm going to be getting another site possibly in July that is wanting a full-size drink and full-size snack machine.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's a plus side for me, downside for the other guy, is that they're letting him go from servicing them because he doesn't come around as often. And when I service my machines, it depending on the volume, it's either weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, or quarterly with my bulk candy machines. So
okay, so your bulk candy machine's kind of like you're in to get into the business, and then you expand depending on the need there. Okay.
Yep, very much so. That's actually the way
cool.
I do it, because like with the used car lot, right? I put the bulk candy machine in there, and then they turned and said not only did they offer me the other locations, but they also said, hey, can you get us a drink machine for that site? I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah. So I found a drink machine for $900 on Facebook Marketplace and put it on the sales side, and it generated probably about $200 in revenue, roughly. But then I got a bigger location here recently. Turned around and said, hey, we let our guy go. Can you service us? Yeah, sure, no problem. And I end up messing up my back. But moving the drink machine from that used car lot to the new site and getting a full-size snack machine to put at the new site as well. And the reason why I pulled it from there is because on the other side, back on the service side of that lot, I've got my combo machine there. So it didn't really help matters any that there was 2 drinks there and a snack machine and candy machine there. It really was hurting me overall when you look at it in big aspect.
That's a cool barrier of entry, though, with just a small candy machine, and then see the need and go bigger as that comes. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it too, because you're keeping it so simple. Like, you're just starting with the people that you already know. You know that they own a business, they have a waiting room, or maybe a showroom, like the car dealerships, and it's like, or the service areas, and it's like, hey, I don't see this. I don't see that you guys have a vending machine. Can I put it there? And it's the answer is always no unless you ask. Too many times we overcomplicate business, but simply just talking to people, asking the question, and most people are willing to support another local business owner. So I love what you're doing. That's awesome. And you're just keeping it so simple.
Yeah, very much so.
And like you said, where are you getting your vending machines? Facebook, have you used any other services or I guess sites to find the vending machines? You did mention the one from Amazon, but mostly just Facebook?
The biggest chunk will come from Facebook. My combo machine, actually, I got it from Craigslist for $900 from Mansfield, Ohio, is where I got it from, which is like a 3-hour drive. Yeah, 3-hour drive for me is what it was. So I went up, I rented a trailer from U-Haul. Me and my wife, and I think my son, it was cold that day, but we met the guy at his storage unit. He had 2 of them. Unfortunately, I only had enough for one, and we loaded up on the machine or onto the trailer and brought it straight back here. And literally, it went in my shop where my dad's auto repair shop. It went in there for a while at first, but then that tenant moved out, and I needed to relocate it quickly, so I put it in at the used car lot. But I dropped it off there that night, and then the next day. No, that was a Sunday. So Monday, I went in there and they helped me move it into the office where it generated a lot of revenue. Just that one machine with that one tenant. I think they were living out of it, honestly. But I was making like $400 in revenue just from that one machine alone.
Wow. Did any of these places ask to that you have to share the revenue with them, or they just see it as you're providing them a service, so they're not asking for any of the cuts or anything of it?
So with that, vending is a don't ask, don't tell industry. Okay?
Makes sense.
If you don't ask me for a commission, I'm not going to tell you that I'll pay you anything. Okay? But ironically, the only one that did ask for a commission was my tenant, which, okay, no problem. In food, when it comes to vending and food, it's a 10% max cap rate. right? And any other vending provider you talk to, they'll tell you that it's 10% based off of, and then they start making it super weird and complicated, right? 10% off of your expenses after food, gas, all this stuff. I'm just like,
oh wow,
let's just make it simple. I'll give you 10% off of cash collected, right? So I go there, once a month, and if I pull out $40 or $400, right, I'm giving him $40, right? Well, really, with this guy, what I did was I gave him 5%, was what we came to an agreement on. I didn't start off high. I started off low. He agreed with 5%. So I was paying him 5% of cash collected. So $20 a month, which understandably it helps offset the electric bill. No problem. But since then, everybody else, they don't ask me for a commission. In fact, they flat out say, we don't want you to pay us anything. We just want you to place your machine there. You stock the food. You come restock the food, and you collect the money. Sure, no problem. I'll do that all day.
Say less.
Say no more. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's cool.
So, in your opinion, Jeff, what's the most important personality trait or strength that someone would need to work in your industry or be successful in vending machines?
Strongest personality that you would need. Geez.
We told you we were going to catch you off guard.
Yeah. I would say the personality that's needed is being able to talk to people, right? Now, I say that, and then you're going to have the introverts out there be like, this isn't for me. I can't do this because the fact that I'm an introvert, I'm just going to hang out here on the wall. I've been there. I am an introvert to an extent, but for some reason, I hit 40 and the check engine light came on, stuff hurts. And now I'm just like, well, let's see how this goes and just kind of dive into it, right? That's kind of where I'm at now. That's why a lot of people in vending, what they'll do is they'll sit down with a phone book and they'll just, start calling places randomly. Don't do that. You're going to get no all day long. And don't get me wrong. Yes. Go for the no. Eventually, you're going to get the yes. Okay? But make it easier on yourself. Start with your friends first. I mean, Kyle, I've only known you for a couple of years, and if you had an office, I'd have no qualms with sitting down with you and be like, hey, Kyle, I've got this little carousel vending machine that, I've got in my vending business that makes money. Can I place it in your waiting area? I'll stock it. I'll clean it. I'll do everything that's needed. You ain't got to do a thing other than make sure people don't steal it and, go in, grab it, and walk out with it. That's all I ask, but I'll do everything else. Can I do that? Is that fair enough? All day long, your friends are going to say, yeah, because I've built rapport with them. Yeah. I've built rapport with them, especially the friends that are, I've known for longer. They ain't got no qualm with that. They get different, Jeff.
And you're doing everything, so they don't have to worry about doing anything. It's providing a value for them and everyone that comes into their office. Yep, that's really good. Much so.
I love it. Jeff, what's one question that we should have asked, or maybe what's one last piece of advice that you would give to somebody if they're wanting to get started in vending? Or answer both questions.
I don't have an answer for the what question should you have asked?
Okay.
Because
best piece of advice then.
Yeah, it'd be the best piece of advice. Best piece of advice really is just going to be, don't lock yourself in fear and just do a bunch of research. I mean, this thing only cost me $53. $53, and last year I made $100. Just go buy it. It's now in your possession. Go put it into the field and get it making you money. Right? Don't lock yourself in analysis paralysis. Just do it, get it done and over with. So that's my biggest advice.
Now, what's the worst advice that you've ever heard before?
When it comes to vending, don't put it in such and such location, right? They turn around and people will tell me, don't put it in a barber shop. You'll never make any money. Okay, I put it in a barber shop, I make money. Where's the problem? I'm not saying this, right? Or they'll turn around and they'll say, well, for the amount of the people that is at that location, you're not going to make any money. You're going to be losing food. Okay. I put stuff there at low volume locations and I'm still making money. And, I don't need to buy like I've got a huge case of Doritos sitting here that went bad. Well, that tells me that my locations right now are such low volume, I don't need to buy like a 48 case, 3 pounds of Doritos. I don't need to buy 3 pounds of Doritos. I just need to get a variety box, right? And then I can be able to spread that amongst my different machines because my volume's so low.
That's good. What was the best advice that you've ever heard then, like in regards to business, or if it's vending machine specific, what's the best advice that you've ever received?
That comes from my dad. His motto was, anything worth doing is worth doing right.
And what's that mean to you?
Do it. Whatever you do it to the best of your abilities. And do it to where you impress other people and they keep coming back to you over and over again. And I do all that, and I've got a TikTok page and was talking about vending and how I don't pay commission. And somebody commented on there and said that you need to get up with the times and pay a commission, or else somebody's going to come in there and take your site. I turned around and looked at him and said, I ain't got to pay a commission because I provide enough good service to my customers that they don't complain about me. They know I'm there month after month or bi-weekly restocking these machines, and I keep everything in line. So they ain't got to complain about me. Somebody commented back and said, you just mic drop. So, but that's what it is for me.
I love it.
That's great advice. If you do everything the way it's supposed to be done, you're not only providing value, but they're going to come to you. Like you said, that's some great advice.
Yep.
And you mentioned your TikTok. Where can people find you online, whether it is TikTok and other social media platforms? What are your handles? All
right. So the socials, right? First off, my website is going to be www.justified-ventures.com/service. I do notary stuff. Yes, if you want to meet with me in the state of West Virginia, you have to come to West Virginia. But I also have the ability of doing a remote online notarization as well. So I can meet with you just like this and notarize a document for you, along with all my other stuff that I do, right? Because I'm in my off season of taxes, so I do tax prep as well. Notarizations, I can give, having 15, 20 years of experience, right? I one of the things I enjoy the most is being able to teach and help people, right? Because needless to say, when starting up in business, there is all kinds of weirdness, especially on the tax code. But I can be able to help you out and give you some business consultation advice. Okay. And then on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Well, no, Facebook and LinkedIn, you're going to find me as Justified Services. And then on Instagram and TikTok, you'll find me on Justified Ventures. And I'd appreciate some help on Justified Ventures on TikTok because I'm at like 500 followers, and I just need 500 more so I can get that live button to
so
work.
You can go live.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go follow him on TikTok right now.
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome.
And we'll put those on the page so people can see it and follow you.
Yep. Okay. I can give you the links to make it easy. Click.
Perfect.
Cool.
There we go. Well, with that, Jeff, thank you so much for coming on to our show, dropping some wisdom, dropping some really good business advice overall with your experiences and what you've gone through, and sharing with us, the lessons that that you've had. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to share with our audience. And to those of you that are watching, make sure to like and subscribe and drop your comments below. Let us know what you got out of this, this interview with Jeff, maybe what questions you have, and let us know, what other topics or maybe what other guests that we should bring on. As we've mentioned before, we're looking forward to bringing on more and more people so that they can share their wisdom, they can provide their value, and we can give them a place to share their education with you as well. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.